Hello viewers. Today I'm going to talk about airframes and the general structure of an airplane. Now, this is an airplane, Cessna 172 to be exact. Now, as you can see, it's fully completed and there's really not much to it, when the exact opposite is quite true. Inside of the wing of an airplane, there are many different kinds of braces. Many. They're running, they run sideways, so we have it like this. The braces would be running like this, like that way. And what these do, of course, is they support and brace the wing and the rest of the airframe. Now, there are two very common designs when we are designing aircraft. There is the truss design and the monocoque design. Now, with the truss design, there are these supporting rods called longerons. And what these longerons do is that they run, as you can see here, from the tail, and they branch out, and they spread down the rest of the aircraft. That's how they work. That's how they spread and branch over down to the rest of the aircraft. So they run the length of the structure, and they are being connected by the bulkheads. And the bulkheads are not necessarily screws, but if you think about how, if you walk into an airplane, it's circular, especially a jet that you travel to on vacations, for example, and it goes like this. That is called the bulkhead. And then with that, you would have a system of struts connecting and reinforcing the entire structure. The entire structure. And with this going on, then, well, of course, your airplane will be stable and won't necessarily break apart or rip apart. Now we move on to our second aircraft design, which is called the monocoque design. Monocoque means singular in French. And what this is referring to is that it means that the skin carries the load. And what do I mean by load? I don't necessarily mean weight. I mean the load that the air is putting on the physical airplane. As in, the load of the air wants to tear off the skin of the airplane. That's what I mean. That is another type of load. So modern airplanes, at least most, are semi-monocoque, meaning only part of the load is actually carried through the skin. So that means only part of the load from the air is carried through the skin. So the wing structure goes like this. There's spars from the backbone of the wing. So if you can imagine, let's say the wing, right? This is the wing. So from the back, there's some nice spars. Wooden, of course they're wood. Or metal, whatever. And they're running lengthwise from root to tip. So imagine it like this. So from here, back, and now you're moving forward. Okay? And the ribs can be built of wood, aluminum, or any other material that you could use to fashion an airplane out of. And they provide strength longitudinally. We all know what latitude and longitude is. So longitudinally would be, say, the back of the airplane to the front of the airplane, longitudinally. Longitudinal axis, right? And they are compression struts that brace the spars in the multi-spar wing. So what does that mean? They brace it. So you've got, from the bat pretty much, you've got a pretty stable airframe and wing. There's not too many things that could disrupt your wing, put it out of commission, kind of thing. Now, we must move on to wing shapes. Now, there are many wing shapes. There has to be at least 100 or more, but there will only be so many that I will cover today and that you actually need to know when taking your PPL. Okay, now this plane is a perfect example, see, as you can see here, of a parasol wing. And a parasol wing is a wing that, as you can see here, is using a strut for support and balance, and it's joining right here. That's what a parasol wing is. And what this wing also is, if you can imagine it without the struts, this is called a high wing. This is called a high wing. And then there's a shoulder wing, which is a little bit lower. And there's a mid wing, which would be obviously midway through. And then there's a low wing. And there's the low wing of the airplane. Okay? So these are all basic wing types, basic shapes. Very basic. Now, of course, there are biplanes, our famous biplane. So a biplane is another wing stacked on top of this wing. Bi meaning two, right? And then there's a triplane, so one wing and two wing, and then three wing. And then there's a multi-wing, which can be, of course, it's more than three wings, which is, well, quite abysmal in my opinion, but yeah. there's many other types of airframes. So there's also, in jet form, most of you would know what swept back wings are, right? There's straight wings, so this is an example of a straight wing, as you can see. And then there's swept back, where imagine it's like this. Okay, imagine it's like this. And there's forward swept, where it's like this, the wing. So imagine the wing's forward swept. Then there's a variable sweep, which means the wing can move. So that means the wing, for example, the pilot can change it up. He could have it straight and then change it back. And then, of course, there's strut braced and wire braced. Lots of different braces, right? There's quite a few types of wings, as I mentioned earlier. Very many, very many. So now when we look at an airplane, what else is there? Ah, right. I was forgetting something. Of course, we have to look at the wheels. Now, an airplane can actually, instead of wheels, have skis as well, which obviously help it land in the snow if there is no runway readily available. And it could have a ski or wheel combination. It could have a back wheel here, which is actually which is very rare nowadays. And it could have skis, at the front of the airplane. And then of course it can have a float, which means it can land on water. So, plane's gonna come in like this, gently touch down, because there's no way you're gonna land in the water. Ooh, you'll sink the plane and probably kill yourself. Probably. And you'll definitely drown, which isn't a nice way to go at all. Now, of course, there's many things to consider. Many things to consider. There is, of course, the element that we all possess, the human element. Sorry. We all we're not nowhere close to perfect. We all make mistakes. But in the sky, one mistake can literally translate to your last mistake. You don't know what you're doing, or you're being ignorant, stupid, macho, or whatever it may be, then that doesn't make a good recipe for flying. Good recipe for flying is somebody of sound and clear mind and body, someone who can take responsibility for their actions, somebody who can really stand up, I guess. Somebody who can be that person when you need him most. Somebody that will take charge of the skies, a literal sky captain, if you will. So, yeah. Thank you for watching, viewers.